Good morning, everybody. So I'm Logan and we're gonna start off here in the barn today. So it's about 40 degrees here right now. It's getting to be those fall temperatures and I wanna start shucking some onions. We got all our onions out of the ground about 2-3 weeks ago. And as you can see, a couple here and there are starting to sprout, which is what we don't want. So we're trying to get these taken care of. We're gonna get them shucked, cleaned, and then take them to market so we can sell them. We have that batch over there I just showed you, and then we have a couple over here. This whole wagon was full. We just emptied a lot of this off yesterday. And as you can see, the majority that we have left is all yellow, but we do have a couple reds and whites left. Shucking onions is pretty simple. Right now I'm on the reds. It's nice after they're picked and in the basket and in the barn for a little while because they dry out, and then you can just wipe that outside layer off real easy. Now moving on to the white onions. And now on to the yellow. Alright, so I just got done shucking some baskets of onions. I got 3 red ones done here. And then over here, I did 4 yellow, which these are a sweet Spanish onion, and then 3 more white right there. So we still have quite a bit to go yet, but luckily onions will last, if stored properly, till springtime. So there's not really a problem there. And then over here, I'll show you what our garlic situation's looking like. If you're watching my videos in the summer, you've seen we had this wagon filled with garlic, and then we had another wagon filled with garlic. We had this board filled. We had another board in front of that wagon over there filled. This was full, that was full, and this was heaping full. So all this is gone, the wagons are gone. This only has a little bit left. That has a little bit left, and then we have this whole floor over here yet to go. But the thing about all this garlic is that at least half of this over here behind me is all gonna be for replanting. We have to cut the tops off, shuck it, and then pull the toes apart so that it's ready for planting. And actually right now is prime time to plant garlic. It's just we have a lot going on with our markets going on yet that we're just gonna be a little late getting it in, but that won't be any problem at all. All right, so now the onions are out of the way, I'm gonna move into red beets. I actually haven't picked red beets since the beginning of summer, but it's almost like you can't even see them here. There's so many weeds. This is actually the first thing we planted along with the pickles and zucchini at the beginning of summer. And you can see lately we've been picking a lot here. We're almost cleaning the rows, but there's still a ton of red beets out here. I mean, I would say thousands and thousands. And the nice thing about red beets is they don't really go bad. So we'll be able to pick these all the way up until frost and maybe even past frost a little bit. So as you can kind of see here, these red beets, it's really hard to see. When we plant them, hundreds of seeds come out at a time. So as we're going along, they don't just go in a line, they're actually like 4 or 5 in a cluster almost side by side. So it's kind of hard for them to grow really fast. But that's a good thing, because then the whole field doesn't come on at once, and we can keep picking different sections and always have nice red beets. Like these red beets right here are almost a little bit too big for my liking. Some people like them that big, it all depends on what you like. But it is really nice to come up and be able to go right down the row almost and pick red beets. Now, if I was gonna pick a red beet, or if I was gonna eat a red beet, I guess I should say, this size here is what I'd be looking for. But like I said, it all depends on what you're using them for and how you're gonna use them. So I'm gonna go down the rows here, get as many nice red beets as I can. Then I'm gonna lay them on a pile over here where it's a little bit not so weedy. And then after I get 4 or 5 piles lined up, I'll go through with my basket and I'll start cutting them. Now I know some of you guys are gonna leave a comment and say, how's come you're leaving those red beet tops in the field? And that's for multiple reasons. One reason is because this time of year, if you can kind of see there, they're all kind of spotty and ugly and brown tips, and they're just not nice. And then also, we just don't have sale for them. So we don't bother taking them to market. Now we will, after we get a bunch piled up here, pick all of them up, throw them in a bucket, and my neighbor has pigs, which is what we do with a lot of vegetables. I got a lot of comments, you guys asking what we do with the vegetables we don't use or that go bad. And like I just said, most of them, if not all of them, go to my neighbor's pigs. He has, I think, like 10 or 15 pigs, and he just takes all the vegetables we can give him. So nothing goes to waste. It's all being used in some way, shape, or form. All right, so I just got finished with red beets. I got 3 baskets. It didn't take me very long for me being the only one picking. And they're pretty nice size, especially for this time of year. The only problem was fighting with the weeds, but that wasn't too bad. So now moving in here to the high tunnel. My mom needs a basket of tomatoes for the market. And instead of me going all the way down to the field, I just figured it'd be easier to come in here. The nice thing about picking them out of here versus picking them out of the field is that there's no crack marks in them from all the rain we had, and there's no dirt marks from them laying down in the dirt. So these are really nice. Like if we're gonna pick for canners, we always get them from the field because they don't have to be as perfect. But if people are gonna pick them by the piece off the table, this is what we're gonna grab, something like this. And the customers appreciate it also. Now if you guys are wondering what varieties these are, I'll show you the tag right here. Primo Red. Some people, when they're buying green tomatoes, for fried green tomatoes, they like them to have a little bit of pink on them. They say it makes them a little bit sweeter, but I kind of just pick whatever's in front of me, as long as it's nice size. Some of them do have a little bit of pink, some of them are all green. And we've never really had any complaints. Okay, so tomatoes are done. 1 basket of nice reds and 1 basket of nice green. All right, so one more thing I have to get for the market before I head out there to take those tomatoes out and eat lunch is our guy ordered a basket of red pimento. So these look, I just got in here, but they look pretty plentiful, so I don't think I'll have much of an issue finding them. Oops. That's a big one right there.
So now I'm on the cabbage with my buddy Earl from Scranton. You seen him in my previous video when I was at market. He's been helping us for a couple years, and today is actually the first day he's been down to the farm. And you know, of course we had to put him right to work. So now that cabbage and cauliflower are done, Dad, Earl, and I are moving on to pumpkins. And as you can see, they're really loaded out in this field. We all went through and lined them up so it was easy, and then Dad started driving the tractor. Earl threw them up to me, and I stacked them in the bins.
These can go except that guy. Them two can go.
These pumpkins are actually going to an auction, so we have to get them all the same size so the buyer knows what he's going to get. I also have to count every single one. We're also going to take some sugar pumpkins to the auction too. So we want to get these cleaned off, line them up, and then Earl's going to throw them to me and I'm going to stack them in the bin.
After these, weigh 50.
If I'm being quite honest, the hardest part about doing all this is counting. I hate counting.
Alright, so we just got done picking pumpkins. We got 2 bins of sugars, 150 count in each one, and then we got 2 bins of big ones. There's about 45 in each bin, and then another bin of a big white bin of sugars also, but that's just going to be for our market. All these bins right here are going to go to the auction. We're hoping we make good money, but you never know what's going to happen at the auction. We could do very poor, so we're just going to hope for the best. The only reason we're taking that stuff to the auction is just because we have too much of it and we can't sell it all at our market. We talked to a lot of the local farmers. Some of them are taking a couple bins, but it's just not enough. We had a crazy good yield this year on our pumpkins and gourds and squash, all that kind of stuff. So we're very thankful, but we want to sell it. So I'm going to call it a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. And always remember, it ain't much, but it's honest work.